All right, welcome back. We finished the first part of the base. We still need to extend the base. We want to have the base kind of grab the outside edge of this bottom part. Right now, we've just done the bottom part of this. We want it to actually wrap around all the way around there. So let's extrude that. To do that, we're gonna flip it over so we can see the top of the base like this. I might have just hit the home key there. And now I'm gonna hide the thruster. And I'm gonna create a sketch on this top surface right here, on that gray part. I'm gonna hit E for extrude. I'm gonna click on this top part, and now I'm gonna turn my thruster back on so I can see it. And I wanna zoom in kind of from the side like this. And I'm gonna drag this blue arrow until I get just, maybe I'm totally on the right side. Yeah, I wanna be just before that little line there. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, maybe, yeah, like 9.8, 9.9. You can also just type that number in if you don't want to zoom in and do that. Oh, and you zoom by rolling the mouse ball. Sorry if I didn't mention that. And instead of, so right now it assumes that I want to cut. But I don't want to cut. I actually want to, well, to avoid from cutting, we're going to go ahead and turn our thruster back off. And now it realizes that we want to join instead. We want to join because we want to make this both one piece. So we turned our thruster off, and now we're going to click OK. Now we have the base, but notice how we don't have the carved out portion. Now there's two ways to make that, easy way and a hard way. Because we already have the thruster modeled, we can actually use the thruster to cut it. So right now the thruster and the base are overlapping each other in an impossible way. This couldn't be made. To get rid of that, we're going to come up here to combine. This is a really cool tool. So I'm going to click on the combine tool. And it's asking me the target body. This is the thing that we're going to cut. Okay, so we're going to cut this base piece, and the tool body is what we're going to use to cut it with, and we're going to use the thruster to cut into it. Now, at first, it assumes that I want to join these two together into one body. If I click OK now, these two are going to turn into one thing. I don't want that. What I want to do is use the cut command here in the middle. So I'm going to say cut, and notice how the thruster is turned red. It's the thing that's doing the cutting. Now if I keep going here and I just click OK, watch, don't click OK, my motor just disappeared. Because when it does a cut command, it by default just deletes the thing that you used to cut with, the tool it cut with. So to fix that, I'm going to come down here. Down here is my history. These are all the things I've done through my process. This is the combine command I just did. I'm going to right click on the combine command and edit feature. You can do that anywhere in the past. You can right click and edit it. It's a super fantastic way of doing things. Over here on the edit feature tool, I'm going to say keep tool so it doesn't delete the thruster, and then say OK. Now if I hide the thruster, notice I have the shape carved out. It deleted all the parts that the thruster was overlapping in, so that's pretty cool. One last thing we need to do, you'll notice if I turn the thruster on, turn the base off, the wires are going to be poking out the top here. And in our base, we have no space for the wires. So we need to cut kind of a slot here for the wires. So again, I'm going to hide my thruster. I'm going to create a sketch on this outside edge here. So see how that outside ring is gray? That's where I'm going to create my thruster or my sketch. And notice that this piece in here isn't showing up on my sketch. And that's because if I tip it sideways, it's down below my sketch. My sketch is up here, and it's down below. But I can get that shape by using the project. So key for project. I'm going to make sure it says here this entities and not bodies. And I'm going to hover over that piece and say, yep, I want to have this whole piece on my sketch, and click OK. And you can see again what it did is it took the shape of this underlying piece and projected it up as a drawing on my sketch. All right. Now I just need to extrude this, and oh, not yet. I need to extrude just this piece here. So I'm going to cut this part of the wall. If I look at it from the side, I'm going to cut this part of the wall away. To do that, I'm going to grab a line tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, rolling the mouse ball. If I need to recenter my drawing, if it's not in the right place, I can push the mouse ball down like a button and then drag around the screen to move it. Super handy feature. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. So I'm going to use my line tool from here to the outside edge, and I'm going to look for the X. The X means that I'm on some other design element, in this case the outside circle. I'm going to come over here, find the square on this one, and then drag it up until I find the X, and I'm going to click here as well. And now I'm going to hit Escape to leave the line tool. I'm going to hit E for extrude, and now I can zoom out so I can see what's going on. I'm going to tip it over a little bit so I can see what's happening. I'm going to choose this piece, and I want to cut this in this way. So I'm going to drag it down this way. Now getting it lined up perfectly, I actually want to stop right here at this bottom surface, but getting it lined up might be tricky. There's a really easy way to do it perfectly, and that's to come over here, and instead of distance here, you're going to choose to object. So I'm going to click on to object. Now it's going to ask me to select the object I want to extrude to, and I want to extrude to this flat bottom down here. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to extrude perfectly down there every time. I'm going to click OK. At this point, you can see now I've got that main part. So I've got that main part all built. Yay, I've got my everything going great. Now I need to make these three things on the bottom. All right, to do that, I'm going to flip it over so I can see the back. And I'm going to create a sketch on this back surface. Zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to use, actually I'm going to tip it, I want to see where that hole is. Okay, so the opening is on this side. And I probably don't want to put the feet right by the opening. So I'm going to click on the back here. And so I'm going to go opposite the opening. Well, I mind the opening at the top. So I'm going to draw my first one down here at the bottom. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. And for this one, there's three kinds of rectangles that you can choose from. There's a 2-point rectangle, which means you click, move the mouse, and click again. You do the two corners. This rectangle is always like horizontal. It can't be at a weird, crazy angle. So I'm going to Control Z, undo that. I don't want that type. There's also the center point rectangle, which means you can go to the middle of an object and then drag out, and it will make a rectangle that's centered on that first point you clicked on. You click again, you'll make the rectangle. Control Z, I don't want that one either. The one I want is the 3-point rectangle. What this allows me to do is say, I want to come down here and click somewhere where it has an X, so I know that I'm on the circle, go straight across and hit another X here, and then go down to make another one here. And this one I'm going to make at 12 millimeters. Oh, let's say 13. Heck, let's say 15. Why not? Let's just be crazy. Let's just go, that's too much. 13's better. All right, let's click enter there. And what it's done is created a rectangle there for me. That's going to be that little foot that sticks off the side. Now, I want to make this width a good width to use. So to define that width, I'm going to hit D for dimension, or I can go up to the Create Sketch Dimension button. And I'm going to click on the bottom here, and then just one click, let go, and then drag down a little bit, and then click again to place the measurement. And this one, let's do this one at 13 as well. So now we've got a square that's 13 by 13. Notice how these things here are just measurements, and these lines are just showing you what it's measuring. They're not actually part of your sketch. You can't extrude those lines. I can move the 13 here if I wanted to, whatever made my drawing more clear, or whatever I liked. I can also move the 13 up and down the line so things won't be in the way and be confusing. So I might even just do it like this so that doesn't look like I have extra lines on my sketch. All right, next thing I'm going to do is super easy. I'm going to extrude this. E for extrude, click here. I'm going to tip it so I can see which way I'm going. All right, I'm going to go 3 millimeters in this direction. Now, if I just type in a number, let's say I just type in 3 here, it thinks I want to go this way, and I don't. The way to go the opposite direction is just to change the positive to a negative, and it will go in the opposite direction. Click OK. All right, so that's one of the feet. I want to make 3 of them though. So here's an interesting way. Once you've made a piece of something, once you've made an object, you can create more of that object by doing this. Create, pattern, circular pattern. So I'm going to click on circular pattern, and it's going to ask me, what do I want to pattern? I want to pattern features, not the entire body. I don't want to make more of the entire thing. I just want to make more of part of it. And the part I want is this part here. So I'm going to click on this part, and I'm going to tell it what's the axis. I want to rotate it around the central axis. And you can see I was taking this piece and it's rotating it around 3 times. I can change the number of times it repeats and have more feet, as many as I want. But I don't want that many, I just want 3. I won't need 9 screws to hold it down. Okay, now one thing I'll show you here, up here in axis, I'm going to hit an X here. And what if I had chosen, like, say this blue axis? Yeah, I think I got it right there. Yeah, if I had chosen this one instead. It does this weird thing of creating it spinning around this axis this way. If I were to choose the red one, can I get the red one? Yep, there it is. It would do it in, I don't know, this weird way, which isn't what I want. So sometimes it takes a little bit of playing around with different axes to see if it's rotating in the right direction. This is the one I want. It spins it around that center part. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to make those 3 parts for me. All right, that's enough for this video. There's one more video after this just to finish off a few details. Good job, hang in there.